Alright, for our boat, we have, it came with the Raymarine instruments, so it's what is this, an ST7040 from Raymarine. I don't know how long it's been on the boat. It's been here for a while. We now bought a B&G Triton 2 instrument display. So you can see they're a little bit different sizes. So we're going to remove this old one and fiberglass the opening shut so that we can then install this one later on. Yeah, we're excited about this project because it kind of solidifies all of the electronics so they communicate and work together well. Alright, so this is the back side of our Raymarine instrument. So it has a power cable going to it, and also the Raymarine's proprietary C-Talk network cable. So we're gonna remove both of those. They're just like a quarter turn and then just a plug. And then this one is held on with these nuts. And there's a like plastic bracket that provides compression. So then this should slide off. There we go. Instrument is removed. So yeah, this is the hole that we're gonna have to fill to make it work. And for visualization purposes, yeah, this can fall right through the opening. So it's smaller. I don't know how much smaller the physical display is of these two. Yeah, I mean, you look at the display area, they're not. It is a bit smaller. It probably has a better resolution than the old one though. So we've got a layer of, I think this is 4-ounce glass that we're going to put on the outside. And so it'll give a nice fine, like thin transition line from on the outside so there's less fairing to do. And then have 2 layers of 1708 cut to go on the inside of the cutout to help take up the thickness. And I'll use thickened epoxy around the edges so everything has a nice, it's bonded nice and sealed. Then I have 2 layers of 1708 to go on the back of everything and bond it to the rest of the panel. I'm gonna mix up some resin, some thickened epoxy, and start applying it. So this is my second time patching instrument panel holes on a boat. First time was on the last boat, Kalamazoo. And it didn't go bad. I didn't really know what I was doing, how heavy of glass to use. And so the repairs just didn't go as well as I was hoping. I didn't really understand like using thickened epoxy and all of that went into it because I had just only done surfboards before that for fiberglass work. So on this, like, I feel like I understand, okay, a thin layer on the front, you know, and backing it better than I did the last time. The last time I just used cardboard. So an immovable surface on the back will help stabilize it. And then yeah, the thickened epoxy to fill all the edges, gaps, and corners, so that, because the glass doesn't like to bend that sharp, and I didn't truly comprehend that, I think, last time. So yeah, I mean, I spent 3 or 4 rounds trying to fill cracks and gaps on the exterior face of the instrument panel hole last time, and so it's just kind of, you learn, and every time is you learn something new, I feel like, or you get a little bit better at it. And so yeah, I'm hoping this one goes really well. So far it seems to be going a lot better. Just trying to work all the little air bubbles out. I can't push too hard because it's just, I've got a piece of polycarb on the other side held in with masking tape. So I think the other thing to like note is when it comes to even like boat work and stuff, and or any project, like the true founders of that industry probably didn't know 100% of what they were doing when they started. You look at boats in the 60s, 70s even. Like, industry standard was wooden boats for a long time. And now there's this new product, fiberglass, on the market, and like they used it and they didn't know the true capabilities of everything. So yeah, stuff was a little bit bigger, heavier, but they didn't know 100% of what was going on. And so I think with the internet and everything, a lot of times we want to know without a shadow of doubt that we're not going to fail, that we're not going to have issues. So we do all this research, and then sometimes we just never get to the actual project. I think where I'm trying to go here is it's okay not to know, and it's okay to fail. Like, both of those are okay things to have happen to you. To not know truly everything that's going to go or work, and it is okay to fail at times. Because that's part of learning. Some of learning is, hey, I tried this, it didn't work. Alright, how do I make it better next time? Sometimes you do just have to cut everything out, start over, and go. I've had stuff that just didn't cure. I've worked paint and I mixed it wrong and it just never cured. So, got to scrape and sand and take all the paint off. Start over. Mix the paint right the next time. Alright, there we go. So, it's kind of hard to see what I did, but there's that. And then on this side, I filled with thinking epoxy and a couple of layers, pieces of glass, to seal the bottom of the chart plotter opening. And then on the outside, you can see there's a piece of polycarbonate providing the rigidity and the backing for this side. And then same on this side, just for this bottom edge. You can actually see where it's been patched, the peel ply still on. It's not 100% cured yet, but the polycarbonate was like popping off on its own. The tape was giving up, so I just pulled it off. But this part is cured. Most of it's done. The sunshine will help cure the rest of it for today. Alright, so I don't know the best way to do stuff. Probably jumping ahead of myself, but I don't know. No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna fair tomorrow because it's supposed to be warm and I'll do a better job than trying to do this too quick. Come back.
As with all technology, things become obsolete fairly quickly, and while the old units were still functional, they were not compatible with our new system. Unfortunately, weather and other projects taking priority has left us with some green fairing compound still hanging out on the port side. Hopefully, soon we can get some primer and then paint the area and get the new display installed. We also had some new wind instruments for the masthead, a quick drill and a tap, and it was all set. Then we left the actual instruments in the galley for the rigging crew to install when they set the mast. And then it was on to the next project. These absolutely massive Variant 30s are our primary winches, and unlike other Erickson 39s I've seen, our primaries are set on these custom aluminum knees. We do have the original drawings from the factory, and you can see where they drew these knees in and a few other things like the aluminum base for the winch farm at the bottom of the mast. I generally lack upper body strength, being about 5'4", so tailing these Genoa sheets when there's a decent amount of force on the sail doesn't allow me to fully crank them in when there's heavier weather. The cleats are also sometimes a bit tricky to manage with where they're positioned, and fighting a Genoa sheet that's tight can be a bit cumbersome when we're out sailing, especially if we're with someone who doesn't have much experience, i.e. most of our friends and family. And we have been religiously watching for a set of used self-tailing winches, but finding something big enough was impossible. Any that did come up for sale were priced so high it just wasn't worth it. Last year, 2023, Lumar had a BOGO winch sale at West Marine, and to our joy, they held the sale again in 2024. So we discussed it several times, and then we splurged on a set of beautiful, brand new, self-tailing Lumar 65s. Yes, it definitely hurt the wallet, but having been out sailing with them a couple of times now, I love them. They are amazing. With the winches installed, it was time for a handful of little boring projects. We drilled a hole in the mast step for wiring. Philip painted the bilge to make cleaning it much easier. We replaced some wiring in our throttle control.
Alright, so I have remounted the throttle control, and here is the new plug. There's the old one, and it was something with, I don't know, there was a solder joint. I'll show you that. So there is a solder joint. They just soldered the wire on another one. I don't know if it was a solder joint or something in this plug that just wasn't connecting, but it would sometimes work, sometimes not. So we remade the plug. We're gonna reinstall everything, and hopefully we never have throttle issues again.
And then we sanded and painted the rudder. Now I'm gonna hold off talking about exactly what product we used when we coated the rudder for quite a while. We tested a silicone-based paint that is supposed to be easy to apply, slippery enough that growth can't stick, and a simple scuff sand allows you to recoat. We tried it last year and the results were underwhelming at best. However, we used a different application method for the rudder and the propeller, and we feel that it's going to be much more successful this season. In the Great Lakes, we don't have barnacles, but we do have zebra mussels and all kinds of algae, so it would be really nice to have a bottom paint that is also not toxic. The rest of the bottom got a coat of VC17, and then we were set for stepping the mast and going in the water.